Hey, Planeswalkers, welcome to our weekly series here today, Friday Night Meta. All things to equip you with the most pertinent information to up your gameplay and help you out. So with that said, it's yours truly, MetaMaster Mythras. Appreciate you tuning in. Flip me a like if you enjoyed today's video. We do have a lot of content to cover and something new. Standard 2022 stats. I did do my standard 2022 tier list, so we'll go ahead and take a look at some of that information here today because it's hot off the press. Now, what's most pertinent is for you. I know many of you are top 1200 and trying to hit top 1200 here for an MQ. We had a great live stream session where I hit the top 300 previously, so we'll talk about some of that and give you some helpful tips there as well. So with that, Planeswalkers, appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, if you got questions, if you got comments, let me know down below. On top of that, feel free to hop on the Discord server. We are hosting a tournament/league on Standard 2022. Then we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but great information for you there on the details as well. And looking forward to hanging out some prizes and hope you sign up. So in the details, you will find the timestamps where we will cover a recap of last week. We're going to cover your best of one, your best of three data. We're also going to go ahead and take that look at Standard 2022. Like I mentioned, give you and equip you with key top deck here. A little story behind that one too. And last but not least, we will go ahead and talk about some events that did impact Standard over the weekend and where are we going from here, my friends. So very excited about what we have going on today. An action-packed episode nonetheless. Great way to support the channel. Timestamps are there. Everything's in the details. If you got questions, if you got comments, let me know. All right. So here's what we got going on in terms of a recap last week. So first off, the deck we covered was Naya Winata. We didn't have any new updates for Standard 2022, and that was in terms of events. Nothing super big there. Mono Green did take down a 5-color hub event and another one that was, well, and one. That one was diversified in the top 8 despite that happening. Then when we get to best of one, Boros Winata and Naya Winata headed straight to the top. So we're going to go and see if it's still on that rocket ship to the moon. Alternatively, Mono Green Stompy had began to fall off. This was in best of one, and Cycling was also starting to pop back up. In best of 3, we had some very big changes here. In aggregate, Naya Winata certainly taking it down, both in the top percentage played and the win spot. So will that continue to pull through today? I don't know. We will find out. Well, I do know, but we will find out. And then last but not least, Mono Green Stompy at large continued to be the most played deck. However, it's starting to fade quickly in the upper echelons of the competitive play. And then 2 other noteworthy things. Gruul Magda was making it to the top and becoming more widespread. It was sitting around the number 2. And the other thing that was big is the Dimmer control deck had disappeared. So that is the recap of last week. Now, this week, we're going to look at things in aggregate, as we always do, Bronze Mythic. Then we'll get a little bit more competitive, and then we'll break out each tier to help you navigate accordingly. So here's what we got going on at large across the board. That has now shifted. Naya Winata is the number 1 deck. It's not fully adopted all the way across, most likely because at the bottoms of the pools here or tiers, it does take a little bit of extra effort in terms of cards. So a lot of times these could be new players, things like that too. So big thing to take in consideration here. We still got rogues. We got Sultai Ultimatum, Mono Green, Mono White Aggro, Boros Winata, Mono White Life Gain, and then here you're seeing Mono Red Aggro and Boros Winata still being the 2 popular decks. Everything else ensuing there. Here is that meteoric rise of Naya Winata at large. You can see the rest going sideways. A lot of it coming else down, but this also just means shrinking of the rest of the meta. So less players playing those other decks when we begin to see that. And then you can also look at these win rates here. We are starting to see a nice rise and healthy rise in different rogues again. So keep an eye on that. That's going to be something special to watch. Now, as we drill into what I call the more competitive scene, we get to Platinum. Here's what we got going on. Mono White Aggro, Naya Winata. So again, in best of one here, we got Boros Winata at the top played. Mono Red Aggro, Naya Winata. So again, very, very dominated there. As we get into 20% in terms of Winata decks, Huge meteoric rise. Congrats, Ironic Velvets. Nice job. And I'll try and remember to tag you on my Twitter this time around. So hopefully everything is going well. Then now that is what we look at, but let's go and break things down here, and we'll go one by one. So as we get to gold, this is what we got going on. We still got that mono black ores in there. I love seeing these broad win percentages. It's always fun when you can pick a deck like that, if that's what you care about. So again, we begin to see Boros Winata, Naya Winata. We see that cycling in there. Naya Winata now becoming the top play. Dimmer Rogues. If there is carryover in the other tiers, a great way for folks to do that. Again, we begin to see some of these other things going on here. As you can see, mono white, Boros cycling, mono red, Naya, Boros Winata. We get to more competitive here. We get to platinum. Naya Winata certainly taking the top spot. Boros Winata second. Life gain starting to creep back up. Mono red, Boros Winata, Naya Winata, green Stompy. Let's move into diamond. So here's what diamond looks like. Dominated by Boros Winata. Dimmer Rogues doing really well. Mono white life gain, mono white aggro. Naya Winata not doing as well. And then you can see the percent played here. Naya Winata kind of pulling off there a little bit, at least here. So when we come down and look at this, well, again, still in meteoric rise, just kind of in check a little bit. Very close though. Then as we go to mythic, my friends, this is what many of you are going to care about right now as you move into top 1200. Here's what we got going on. Mono white aggro, Naya Winata, Dimmer Rogues. Definitely beware of the rogues. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Boros Winata, Naya Winata, mono red, Sultai Ultimatum. In terms of play, win rate's not as good. Long matches, that's not what you want. So just depends. Anyway, you can see mono white aggro is still staying pretty steady here, doing a nice job overall. We saw a huge drop off on Dimmer Rogues there. But it's certainly coming back like we talked about. Everything else here in terms of Boros Winata holding steady. Naya Winata straight up still. So very close in terms of the full domination like we talked about. But that is best of one, my friends. So that's the update here for this week. So stay safe as you try and navigate your way here with roughly, what do we got? 2 days? 48 hours? Well, when you post this, probably 24 hours. Good luck. Now, we'll go to best of 3. So this was dominated by Naya Winata. Is it still dominated by Naya Winata? Interesting. Rule Magda now at the top here. We still see Naya Winata as the top play, 21%. Crazy. Sultai Ultimatum, mono green Stompy. We can go ahead and look. Bam! Wow, it actually stayed flat for one day. Crazy. Nice job, Ironic. Here's what everything else. Now we can start to see Naya Winata's win rate starting to fall. Some of these other things are starting to get in there, put a little bit of pressure on there. Meta's getting a little mixed up, but that's all good. Everything else kind of gotten sideways, gone down. Is it Dragons just slowly dying here? Pretty painful, as you can see, but it happens. So we begin to see the other piece of the meta. Now, here's interesting story. Temur Adventure popping up here a little bit more in terms of the meta play, 3%. 3.5%. So we're gonna want to keep an eye on that one and see how that develops. And this deck is actually the Temur Lukka one too, so it's not Ultimatum, Epiphany, and all that stuff. But this is what we have at large. Let's go ahead and drill into the more competitive scene. What do we got going on? Temur Adventure making its way up. Gruul Magda still doing really well here. We got Naya Winata, Temur Adventure pulling up. We've seen some of these other aggro lists really dropping down here, which is pretty interesting. Dimmer Rogue's still there. Dimmer Rogue's doing well. Again, dominated by Naya Winata. We do see the disappearance, though, of Boros Winata. So everything is certainly Naya Winata focused here at this point of the pack on the upper end. So this is what we got going on. Again, meteoric rise, insane. We see mono green Stompy falling off. Some other things kind of going sideways there. Mono green Stompies just continues to drop in terms of win rate, which isn't super good. Is it Dragons just not performing well, my friends? So it happens. Now that is what we have going on at that end. Let's go ahead and we'll drill in. Many of you aren't going to be playing down here, but I always just like to check. As we get into silver, we begin to see a few things moving there. Is it dragons, like we were talking about, some of the other control decks? Then we get into gold. Gold, we see Salty Ultimatum actually doing really well. Salty Ultimatum being heavily played, 20%. Then we move into platinum. So we're getting into the competitive scene. Naiwanata at the best. Naiwanata at the best. Is it dragons not doing well? We begin to see how these things kind of fall off. Keep an eye on that. Because it's always good. We got Naiwanata, mono green, Gruul Magda, mono red. Now we get to diamond. Diamond, we start to see Temur Adventure. We got mono red aggro at the top right now. It's 65%. Interesting. So that's something pretty big to keep an eye on. So that means that it's also holding up really well against Naiwanata right now, which makes sense. It does well against Temur Rogues. If you can burn all the other stuff off, it's going to do okay. And it's still going to do good against Salty Ultimatum. Last but not least, Mythic Best of 3. Here's what we got. Temur Adventure, #1. Bet you didn't see that coming, huh? Anyway, Naiwanata, almost 30% of the meta. Wow. Insane. Meteoric Rise. Seriously. Meteoric Rise. Look at that. Wow. Insane. Even though win rate's going sideways. It's all good. So that's what you're probably most likely going to play in best 3 this week. When we played a ton of Magic, we played a ton of what against Naiwanata. I also did play Naiwanata for a little bit. Again, Jeskai Mutate's still in there. We got Gruul Magda. All interesting things to keep an eye on in terms of what you're going to see here at the top end. So this is how I would think about and focus as you go for that top 1200 here if you're playing best of 3. That is what we have. So let us go ahead and talk about today's top deck. Maybe you figured it out, maybe you didn't. Today's one is Temur Adventure, my friends. So I ran this deck here recently, actually yesterday. I ran Allie Warfield's deck. She did a great job in the SCG Satellite, took that down, did okay in the 5K. And Temur Adventure had shown very well anyway. And so certainly I wanted to cover her deck. I did cover her deck. And also when I live streamed right before this, I did go 4-1, pushing from 600, top 500, I decayed about 6-7 back into the 300s. So it is a great deck. Really enjoyed it, and it is playing well against meta right now. If I had a choice, this is mine for top 1200 if you want, right? So that's Mithras's nugget for you here today. So this is the list, couple different variations. This top one here, I think, is hers. Nope, it's not. Doesn't run Azeka's. I'll make sure to have it down below for you. A little bit different. I like seeing the Ranger class in there too. That's a good take on things. So all good things to keep in mind. I like seeing the dragon in there too. Lots of cool things. In particular, like this list, the matchups here, the information's not super good. But we do see 51% against Naiwanata. Maybe that's all you need, right? But reality is, I know it's matching well, excuse me, against the meta overall, which is important. So that's going to be our deck today, Temur Adventure. You can check that out down below. A lot more great information. You can see a lot of gameplay if you go watch my live stream on YouTube or Twitch, or watch the deck. I've literally lost, in the last 2 days, I've lost with it once. And that was because I had the shuffler on my shoulders. Just kidding. So anyway, here's what we got going on now. Let's go ahead and see what we had from tournaments. So we did talk about this 5K SCG Tour Online Championship. Tons of players. Really good stuff. Let's see where we ended. Boom. Naiwanata did take it down. Gruul Adventures was in there. So we haven't seen a ton of Gruul Adventures, but this is what they're going to call the Magda Gruul deck, so I take that back. Still doing really well. Again, that's part of the reason why I see that. Jeskai Mutate in there. Temur Adventures. So this was a big one. As I mentioned, Allie Warfield is right here in the top 12. Temur Adventures, look at this. Boom. lots of things going on. We got Gruul Adventures. So some pretty neat stuff, even though Naya Winata took it down. Naya Winata did well here too in there. So lots of good decks in terms of tournament play, and a lot of cool things. So Jeskai Mutate did pretty well. Will did a nice job there. So let's go ahead and look at some of the number of decks. We'll go to the top. Temur Adventures going at 48% though. This is the Obosh version though. Then we have Sultai Ramp at 46. We got Mono Green Aggro at 48. Naya Winata doing well at 56. 53 for Dimmer Rogues. Gruul Adventures 64%, which is pretty good. And then we continue to move down there. Where is our... Maybe they didn't put in there. Maybe they did do it. Maybe they did include Obosh as part of this, because this one is not an Obosh deck. So anyway, that is what we have going on, unless I missed it somewhere else. All right, we're okay. So that is the standard one. Big results. Very pertinent for us in our gameplay. Then one that I also wanted to cover is standard 2022. So there was a fun little tournament, 23 people. What came out? Jund Ramp. Dimmer Control, is it mid-range? Dimmer Controls, is it Dragons? I know many of you asked me about this on the tier list. I have not made a Dragons list yet. I apologize. I was waiting for it to settle because there's a ton of variations in there, and it can be a very expensive deck. So just want to make sure we had it right for you. So very cool, a lot of fun there. If we go down, break out the records and win percentages, again, not a ton of stuff, but a lot of Dimmer Control there, a lot of Dimmer Control. So I'll say that again, a lot. But we did cover that by our buddy James. So super fun deck and all of that. Now, last but not least, big shout out here. We are pulling together a league of leagues. And I'm saying that because I've been calling it a tournament, but the reality is we're going to play a series of matches, Swiss matches, and we're going to cut. Again, depending on the players, there are prizes here for you. I highly recommend to go play and sign up. If I get time, I will certainly play. I wanted to make this a wide option for the community. You voted. This is what you chose. My constraint is I'm going to be blessed with another child here soon. So my time might be a little tough to play, but I can certainly help manage. So with that, and we got a good host of folks in the Discord server and mods and things, and plenty of people super excited and ready for this too to help. So come check it out. We're going to do best of 3 for standard 2022. Very excited about that. I want to see your deck list, and I want you to help everyone else as we transition rotation, give people stuff to start with. So I will be covering the winner's deck, absolutely, and I am absolutely jacked about doing that. So highly encourage you to sign up and do this. We are going to be moving here in the next 8 days. So very short timeline. Please feel free to come hang out, and certainly looking forward to that. So Planeswalkers, with that, that is what we got. And you know what I forgot to do? You thought I was going to get there. Standard 2022. I'm just kidding. I set you up bad on the description. I apologize. I will make sure the description's updated. So let's go back to our meta, and we will go look at that standard 2022 stats. All right, not mythic. Boom, blow it out first. All right, we'll do the same thing. So when we look across, here's what we got going on in terms of the broad market brushstroke here. Mono white aggro, number 1. Mono green stompy, 2. Orzhov control, Orzhov Angels, Simic Ramp, Golgari control, Is It Dragons, and Dimmer control. So for everyone worried about Is It Dragons, it's not one of the best decks. So there you go. I said tier 2 to mostly everyone. That agrees with what I said. So popularity today. So here's what you can see in terms of meta. Lots of Dimmer control, lots of Is It Dragons, Orzhov control, Orzhov Angels, all these other things. Here again, fairly new because we've only got about 15 days of data, but fairly consistent, which is actually pretty interesting when we look at the meta in a vacuum, which is what I really liked for a while because we didn't have this, but I'm certainly excited to be sharing this here with you on Untapped. So when we get to the competitive scene is pretty reflective. Dimmer control does not have a good win rate. but then you can see everything else here and where we're tracking in terms of the rest of the meta. So mono green Stompy is a good choice. Mono white aggro is a good choice. They're both neck and neck there when it comes to standard 2022. And then as we blow things out, for those of you that are new in checking things out, we'll go into silver. Do we got some in silver? There's what silver looks like. Most popular, dimmer control, actually. Pretty cool. Then you begin to see everything else that we have breaking down. Let's go to gold. Gold looks a little different. You got Ores of Angels mainly in there, doing well. You got Grixis Dragons, you got Rakdos Treasures, you got Mono Red Goblins. See, this is all pertinent information because it's really helpful as you kind of navigate. Then we go to Platinum. So Platinum here, this is what we got going on as well. Mono green Stompy, mono white aggro, dimmer control, those kinds of things. And then we go into Diamond. So here in Diamond, we got mono white aggro, Ores of Control, mono green Stompy, the works in terms of what's going on. So again, lots of Visit Dragons. I know many of you commented about that in the Diamond space. But as we get to Mythic, changes quite a bit. Mono white aggro, mono green Stompy, Ores of Angels, Ores of Control, Simic Ramps here. We didn't talk about that too much before. The mono green, and then you go to the rest. And Simic Ramp really feeds off of mono green. That's why why you see that, which is a good counter deck there. But today, what we are going to do, I should also give you a standard 2022 deck. So we'll do that real quick here, and then we'll go to some final thoughts. So we are going to pick mono green Stompy. The deck that I have listed for you is a little bit different. It's not this particular list. I did want things to shake out a little bit. I have a mono green landfall deck, which is pretty cool. I really like it. I will make sure we run a nice mono green Stompy list for you because I know several players asked that. But I do like the go wide version as well, and had a ton of success with it. So this was one of the ones that I did want to cover. We do talk about this in the standard 2022 article that you can check out on my website, as well as in the tier list that you can check out. But the biggest pieces here were the pickups and Werewolf Pack Leader and the 2-drop. Obviously our super friend here, Ranger class as well. So that is the deck. That is what we have. So let's go back to our meta and close out here from our standard 2022. So first off, everyone, thank you so much. We did a little bit longer Friday night meta. Again, I held you in your seats. I told you I was going to give you a standard 2022. I made you wait. I'm sorry, but we got there. So lots of great information. We did a recap of last week. We saw a lot of changes between best of 1 and best of 3. We talked about a key new deck, Temur Adventures, Temur Lukka. Huge. Keep an eye on it. Like I said, top 300 with Ali Warfield's deck. So you certainly can too. Then we did go check out some tournaments. We talked about the SCG 5K, covered a cool 2022 one for standard 2022 one by Black Pearl, saw the Jund, and then talked about the tournament that we're going to have. Again, please check that out. Sign up. Information's down below. Stay tuned. We got a great active community. I know many of you would like to play, so just remember to sign up. No pressure. We're going to have fun and prizes and all that. Then we came back. We covered standard 2022 because it's new, it's hot, it's fast, it's furious. Giving you another clip and take in terms of trying to get to your top 1200. Best of luck to you. And then equipped you with mono green Stompy because, of course. So with that, Planeswalkers, you stay safe. We got a ton of stuff coming your way. We got new tier lists for standard. We're going to get back into historic top decks, standard top decks, standard 22 top decks, jank, live streaming, host of stuff. I will be playing the community next week. So tune in for that. I play subs and all that stuff. Super fun. And so bring your best. And on top of that, again, just a huge thank you. Truly, I appreciate your support. Looking forward to what's next. Stay close because we got a new season coming. We do have the MQ coming up as well, and I do plan to hopefully play in that, pending what I said earlier. So very excited about that nonetheless. So Planeswalkers, until next time, you stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Don't forget to stay in touch. As I mentioned, lots of great ways to support the channel in the description, lots of great benefits for you too, and ways to interact there. So until next time, Planeswalkers, we'll see you again soon. Mythras out. Take care.